All right. Here we are again for some more game development. Continuing on from last time, we are doing more particle system stuff. And yeah, it's going to get straight back into it. So I've actually done a little couple of small things since Monday. I have gone ahead and made like a little smoke particle in our particle template stuff and added a few more parameters to the emitters. So now we have this new emit times before delete. So basically the emitter will emit the particles a set number of times before it deletes them itself. Uh, I'm explaining this really poorly. So basically, I wanted to have a way of just doing like a single burst, for example, with the bomb block that we have. So I've just changed this code right here. It used to be that I was using this utility function here to just like blast the smoke and directly set the colors and the layers and stuff. Now, I'm just going to paste over that again with my new stuff. I'm creating an emitter from the file at this location and overwriting its layer so that it's on the same like render layer as the bomb blocks were. Also, yeah, my audio mixing might be weird. I've like since changed a bunch of stuff because I listened back to the recording from last time and it was like my voice was super quiet in comparison to the music. But if it's out of kilter, just let me know. Anyway, yes. So the layering is now the same for objects, and that's controllable with this overwrites layer variable, which I'm using to basically inform whether or not I should take that new layering on. So that just means I can control the rendering layer of the particles when and where I want, much the same way that I do with other objects, because I do a lot of like render order stuff, just to make sure things look nice. So I'll run the game, and you can see that after replacing that little bit, the bomb block still behaves much and such like it did before, with the the pink clouds. But that is now using my new template particle stuff. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to stop that. Then I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to force reload this. I guess I should make the particle emitter options also know if it has been forced to like load from file. Because then we can kind of like carriage that down to the emitter itself. Actually, you know what? No, I'll just make that a property of the emitter. Because then what I can do is, when it emits a particle, when it loads it from the file, I can make it reload every time, which means that every time it's firing a particle, it's going to be a little bit slow. But that's fine, because what I can do is use that to like hot reload the particles while the game is running. So that's like part of the reason that I've been doing this stuff, is to make this like turnaround a lot easier. Yeah, so if I have the game here, I think I actually have it set up. So okay, so yeah, I have the debug particle from last time, but you can see it's also producing the pink smoke. I'm just gonna kick this enemy out of the way. Hold on. Get. Right. Hopefully that one will stay over there. So if I go here and I modify the color to be like, I don't know, let's go for just bright green. Save that. Yeah, the particle is immediately green, which is cool. And yeah, even though it's like loading this whole file and reading it every frame it produces one of these, it's actually surprisingly performant. This is, I guess, one of the advantages of having like a tiny engine. So that's really cool. So I can just play with this stuff. I could maybe change this to the star particles, which mess up because they're like, I think 24 by 24 pixels or something, maybe 32. Yeah, kind of. Not quite. I don't have the exact measurement. But the smoke puff is definitely 16. So this lets us do lots of very fun things. Constantly like editing and reloading this makes my job as a developer a lot easier. So I'm kind of proud of that. But there are more things we can do with the particles today, I think. So I kind of want more emission styles, because right now I've kind of got this like stream of particles, or like a spray, or a burst. But what I also want is a region. So like I could have a rectangle and fill it with like sparkles, and have them kind of twinkle for some of the really fun effects. Also that kind of constrained particle system, like the star burst there, I need to get that codified. Which I think would be pretty easy to add, because I can just do like a system with 4 particles, and that's it. I'm gonna undo my changes to this, because that was the correct color. Yeah. There we go. I'm actually realizing something. I don't think this emitter that I spawned manually should be force reloading. Indeed it shouldn't. Which makes me think that the load from file stuff is actually loading from file for every particle all the time? I am gonna quickly go over and have a look at the like the default thing that was like this little error person, and see if I can like, if I just change the color. Yeah, okay, so it's actually reloading these all from file all the time. That's bad. That means my caching code isn't working. Which I was doing in here. When I was doing load emitter options in file. So, contains key name. Oh, okay, yeah. Of course. I never actually added this to the cache. Particle template cache, add name. Yeah, I need to store this. There we go. Let me think. Yeah. Just needs to be assets, particle template cache, add name particle emitter. I think. Oh, not template cache. Oh, that's even worse. I was checking the wrong cache for the name as well. Now, I thought I was doing this with this. I guess I never did. Cool. That's incredible that I've actually been reading the file system for every single particle on the screen. It's amazing that it's been running as well as it has. So my brain's a little slow today. So bear with me if I make some dumb decisions. I actually think the Chrono Trigger soundtrack might be too distracting for me. I'm going to switch up my music. Hold on. To get something a little bit lower tempo. There we go. If it's too loud or too quiet, just let me know. Right, okay, back to it. Yep, store that. Okay, so this time, when I run the game, the particles shouldn't be reloading from file all the time, unless I explicitly tell them to. So this should be pink, and if I change this to some other color, it does not update, stays pink. Okay, good. This has the added benefit of making all the particles much more performant. Game crashed. Because I broke this. I should add some safety around resource loading. Okay, that's still crashing. Wonder what's going on there. Item with the same key has already been added. Okay. Guess I'm doing something bad. And that's in load particle template from file. This one. Oh, of course, because force from file is there. This should be add or update. Naturally. There. I forget sometimes that dictionaries don't like that. This time, when I touch the thing. Oh, or it will just do something incredibly bad. Interesting. I wonder if... Oh, yes. Okay. This, emit times before delete. What's happening is it's changing that in the cached version of the template. Like, that's like a live variable, which I've not done yet. I've just been using them to like instantiate stuff. This one actually gets tracked as the emitter emits, which I guess is kind of bad design. Yeah, that needs to go. But I liked having a nice little thing. What I'll do is I'll just make a list of timers. Emit times before delete list. When in doubt, just make a new thing. I could do something like take the time variable, well, take the template and then like make a copy of it in memory when I load it. But that means I'm just going to be like copying it around a ton of times. I'm going to have like loads of memory used up by these copies of a thing I've already loaded somewhere for the sake of a single variable. Makes a lot more sense if instead when I like load the options in, I just go for each emit time and options dot emit templates dot fetch or select. I think select is what I want. Template template dot emit times before delete. Or instead, I doing a for each. Why would I do a for each? I just do emit times before delete list equals that. Maybe. Can't convert into enumerable into list int. Is there a to list? That there is. Cool, don't need to worry about this anymore. Then I just need to do something like emit template index equals emitter options emit templates get dot index of emit template. And then I just use this emit times before delete list. Like so. Then the remove basically comes down to the same yeah, hold on. Basically gonna have to just iterate the emit times list. This is kind of a stupid, this is not a good solution to this problem. Emit time, if emit time is equal to 0, then no, this is not good. Emit time index equals 0. I could feel a million programmers crying out in anguish as I do this. So I'm just linking the emit time indexes to the emit template indexes, which is it's performant. That's the important thing. It will run okay. So now the purple explosions should work. But they don't. Why do they not? Because I'm saying... No, I'm selecting that to a new list. Unless it's a reference of integers. I hope not. Maybe I just went up the wrong tree completely with this. What I'll do is, I'll say, don't force load from file. Let's see if that changes anything. No, that doesn't make sense. Does the burst? Does it once? You see, if I change this to like 100, I bet what'll happen is it'll like spray a bunch of times and then it'll stop. Well, the spray a bunch of times thing certainly happened, and then yes, it stopped. So something weird's going on. So when it is at 1 time, I get the feeling it's not. I mean, it is making new emitters and it's adding to them to the scene. It's loading the template, the options from file. Wait a minute. No, that's fine. The actual particle emitter is being created separately, so that's what's tracking these things. Well, I'm gonna have to open Visual Studio. real version and actually do a little bit of debugging and see what's going on here. But I think I should have opened 2017. Yeah, probably should have opened 2017. Wow, it's been ages since I used this. Yeah. Visual Studio 2017, actually, instead. My theme in this is a weird shade of yellow. I haven't used this in ages. Okay. Utility, particle emitter. So let's find out what's going on. So it's this, really, the remove thing. Oh, my God. I know what it is. Because they're stored in the options, so I'm still mutating the list that belongs to the options. Yeah. Yep, this has been a pointless waste of time for the emit time stuff that I was doing. Whoop. Yeah, because what's happening is, even if I decouple the timer from the template, I'm still removing stuff from the emitter options emit templates. I might have to copy this. Yeah, okay. Let's try that then. So when I load from file, instead of returning it directly from the cache, can I clone this? Is it clonable? Did I make it clonable? Now I need to implement the iClonable interface. Okay. Particle template's fine. It's the options that I want to be clonable. So what do I have to do to satisfy this? Clone, okay. Okay. I don't really know how to clone an object manually. Well, I'm going to double check this. C# clonable. How do I implement that interface normally? Oh, maybe I can just do member-wise clone. So it would be like object dot. Hold on. Just gonna mess around here. Now there's no real. I haven't done this for a long time. Okay, so realistically, all I need to really do is make a new one when I'm loading from the cache here, say cached particle emitter is this. And then instead of returning that immediately, I can make a copy or something. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, okay, no. It's simple. The solution is simple, really. I will just make a constructor for that type that takes it, like, itself. Not particle emitter, particle emitter options. I'll have the blank constructor, and then I'll have one that copies. And I just go like emitter name equals copy emitter name. Oh no, to copy. Template for each template in copy templates. This also needs to be a copy or something, right? Yeah, I guess templates need the same kind of constructor that lets me copy it. Or, alternatively, here's a better idea. Here is a much better idea. I stop trying to do bad things. This is why, when you have a class that is used to set up another one, you do not include any live variables in it. It's over. The template should contain that. That variable should exist, but the live variable shouldn't matter. Ah, great, now I'm stuck again. Yeah, okay. This is fine, I think. No. Now this needs to change to be... I think I was right the first time with the list of times that the emitter should hold on to. But the emitter also needs to hold on to its list of templates that comes from emitter options. Emitter options basically needs to not store this. Like particle emitter options. And its list of templates. Yeah, this list here. Starting to think that this maybe needs to go. This is the best part about game development. It's like 90% of it is this. Just like struggling to comprehend things which are actually on the face of them quite simple. Think. If we have some list here, we just want to copy the list. I'm going to find a way to C# copy a list. How do I clone a list in C#? Oh, that's a point. maybe what I'm doing wrong is that this is a reference type when it should probably be a value type. That's probably it. How do I declare it? C# declare value type. Can you declare your own value types? Maybe not. This is perhaps when it needs to be a struct. No! Oh, okay, I just don't need to... Oh no, I can't have initializers. I do want initializers for the JSON loading. Does C# have a default copy constructor? Feels like it might. No, it doesn't. Screw it. I think I know what I need to do, which I've said so many times before. Right. Okay. So we do. This essentially it's just straight up copy every single property this thing has and put it in this thing. I could probably do this quicker with reflection or something, but I'm okay for now. Because these are all value types, so we shouldn't have any trouble. Then what we do is when we deserialize one from JSON, we can then, I guess what we can do is, oh no, not when we deserialize, when we have the emitter, when we load the options like this, probably what we want to do instead is go emitter options dot emitter name equals options dot emitter name, and we go emitter options dot emit templates equals new list of type particle system template, and you can take another collection, I think. What am I doing? Yes, I've got it. Yes. I know what I'm doing. So many times I've said that. No, what I do is I make a new list. No, what? It's stop that. No, I do new list, particle system template, and then I go emitter, like for each template in options dot emit templates. I go emitter options, add, and I do new particle system template, and I take the old template because I'm using the copy constructor, and it yells at me. What? Oh my god. Right. Yes. That's it, I think. I think it's solved. I think the mystery is finally over. And I've spent 35 minutes of my allotted time playing with lists and copying. Ugh. Nobody said I was smart. Ugh. Why? A null reference. Because this returned a null reference? Oh, man. What? Fine. It's debugging time. It was the bomb block that I was having trouble with. Here. Boom. Right. Let's go in here. Let's do a little bit of stepping through. So we step in, step over, step over, step over, step over, step over. Okay, so this has the emitter. Good. Good, good. Adds it to the cache and returns it. Step out, step over. Broken. Because emitter options is null. Ah, because I don't make a new one. Oh my god. Yep. I'm a doofus. New particle emitter options. There. Ugh. Okay. Yes. 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 It behaves normally now. Okay. Good. I'm going to commit that before I forget. Particle system fire once stuff doesn't corrupt template. Right. Okay. Good. Excellent. Don't need to worry about loading this from file because it's all good. What I do need to do is maybe pre-cache all the particles I can find. And also, the emitter name, I never really use. I think I forgot that I kind of use the name in the name of the file. But I guess there's something I can do with this in the future. Same with the template name. Like this should be called Smoke Pink because it's in there. So yeah, there's stuff with names that I'm not doing right now, but I could probably use. What I do want to do is maybe just iterate over all the files in each of these directories and just kind of like build the cache early. So if I go to helpers, I can add one. Like a public static void preload all particles and systems. Or preload all. Doesn't need a long name. So what I would do is, I guess you could just have like a manifest of names and it just goes and tries to load all of them. That'd be the easiest way of doing it. And I could like keep the manifest in code or in a file. But the better way is actually just to go through all the names in each directory and just like rip them all out, I guess. So C# find all file names in a directory. Should be something like get files or something. Yeah, so system.io file.get .file .directory info. Okay, yeah. And I'll be like directory info equals new blah 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 from assets get asset path set type data particles. And this will be the particles directory info. For each file info file in particles directory info dot get files, we'll grab JSON files. I guess I'm going to be doing a lot of I/O stuff in here. I should just pop that up in there. And I can just do... Actually, you know what? No, I like being explicit about it. It's fun. So yeah, system.io file info. Right, so every JSON file in this folder. I wonder if the names need to be split. File name equals file.name dot split dot first string. I think that'll work. And then I can just go ahead and say, hey, let's load all those particles. So I would just do, I guess, load particle template from file. File name. Cool. And I'll just do the same thing for the emitters directory. Load emitter options from file. Right, so if I call this somewhere at the start of my program, probably in program.cs, sometime before I start the main game, load assets or reload assets. Particle helpers. That'll do it, I think. It should probably work. Well, no crashes, so that's a good start. So if I blow up the blocks, there should not be a hitch the first time I do it. And there wasn't. But just to be sure, we should probably have this output to the log once it's done. Is log static? Yes, it is. Loaded particle. like to have fancy debug lines with lots of things. There we go. So we got default, smoke pink, hello, and smoke burst pink. Perfect. Now, in the future, I might not want to preload all of them, so I might like split them into folders based on the parts of the game that need them, or whatever. That's pretty good so far. So now, I guess I'm going to try and make the starburst effect that we see when you collect a bean. And I'm going to do that by like copying one of the emitters we already have. I'm just calling it bean burst, or maybe just starburst yellow. And then I make a star yellow JSON, star yellow, and the color is going to be pretty much straight up just yellow. I can't remember if it actually fades down to another color. I should check. I think it like fades to orange. Oh, no, it comes from orange and then becomes yellow. So it should be like, I don't know, 99FF00 for like an orange to start with, and then FFFF00. Very basic. Starticle is the particle name. It starts off kind of slightly smaller, so maybe 0.75. Becomes scale 1. That's probably going to be too big because the starticle file is huge. How tall is this? I'll check it out in the actual file. Particles, starticle. How tall are you? 29. So it's probably 29 by 29, which is a weird size for a particle. I'll grant you that. So I'm actually going to go back here and check out what the original burst says it was. 3029. Okay. Strange size for a sprite, I know. So that's the star. Then the starburst yellow. So it's going to emit star yellow. It's going to emit one of them. The angles are going to be fixed. Speed's going to be like 8. I think is the speed I set. I'm like trying to remember. So there's one at like 45 degrees. And basically I'm just going to copy this 3 times. Oh, and we're going to have the emit times before delete 1. For that burst effect. Right, so it's 45, and then the next one is 45 plus 90. I'm just going to use a calculator. 135 plus 90 again, 225 plus 90 again, 315. I'll change the speeds, so it's maybe like 7.8 to 8 on each, so that you have this like very slight variation in how they come out. And I guess I could maybe add like a 1 degree variance. So there's like a slight amount of wobble. They're not exact 45 degree increments each time. Yeah, I guess that'll do it. And that's going to be called Starburst Yellow. So if I go to the bean, nope, that's the map entity. Bean, I think it's collectible. Yes, I've got lots of different kinds of beans that I'm not doing anything with yet. They will do stuff eventually. So here it is. Here's this starburst, star plink effect that I'm using. Yeah. And I have a particular layer I'm using for this called front particles. So I'm going to copy that and use it. I'll just have commented out there. So if we go to the bomb block, we can take the thing we're using here. I need to go to Starburst Yellow and make sure I'm overwriting the layer. Because I do want to overwrite the layer. Then back in collectible, we're doing Starburst Yellow at this location. There's a bunch of like different interesting bits and pieces here. Long and the short of it though, we are using, this layer, this front particles layer. Yeah, so now it'll preload the bean particle, like the star. And then we should, when we pick up a bean, we'll see the new effect, which is greenish because I edited the wrong color. And the effect is much wider than the other one was. Also, I think the other one had an easing function difference, which is a point I've not considered. Otter has a number of easing functions you can apply to things like particles when they do their thing. I maybe do want to do that. But yeah, star yellow. Of course, that's the red I've tuned down there. There we go. Also, yeah, 9 isn't half, 7 is half of 15-ish, roughly. Right. That's more like it, but it's lacking the same kind of... Yeah, definitely the easing function is weird. Should be reaching the maximum of the color much faster. It's also going a lot further and is a lot bigger. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it needs to be tidied up a little bit. I'm probably going to get annoyed with having to copy these around, but this is kind of a special case for the particle. So let's say we tune it down to like 5-ish. That's more how I remember it. The size, I think, is still a little off, but... and the colors are off. I think we'll fix that with the easing, though. So that's probably going to be something I want to change at the emitter level. In the options here. Yeah. In the emit templates, I'm probably going to want to have something like public easing, or just easing func. So linear would be the default. That's right, of course. There's a... I remember there is some kind of serialization that these have. I've seen it before. I think it was actually just a delegate function. If I search for easing func. Oh, that's right. I did it in my own camera stuff. I was loading them from file. How did I do that? I created a delegate using the property. Yeah, because it was using reflection. I should open up my map and see what that looks like. So camera controls. Yep, I just had the name. Did I not have to produce a namespace for it here? Interesting. Oh, I'm already using the type to get the method. Okay, well, yeah. That's simple. I'll use a string. And it is by default linear. And then, when my emitter emits a particle, I go particle dot ease equals this stuff. Yeah, time to nail that down. Get method, and it is from emit template dot easing func. And then I go particle.ease equals that. Easy. So then in the emitter, I can have an easing func parameter, and I can do like cube out for cubic ease. I'm actually going to check and see which one the collectible used beforehand. And that's in the helpers. Particle helpers. Static alerts ease was expo out. So I'll use that. And it should look roughly like the one before. Of course, I can tweak all these later. This is the beauty of reflection, I think, in C#. It's nice being able to just take a string and say, hey, it's a method now. Again, slightly slower than it maybe needs to be. Did they change all that much? I think maybe the speed is remaining constant. I can't tell if that's actually working. Oh, because of this. Easing func equals copy.easing func. See, now that's going to bite me a lot of times, but I'll get used to it. I'll remember eventually. That's way more like it, but much weirder. Definitely something up with the velocity. I guess it exponentially reaches the end of its velocity curve much faster. And the sizes are kind of odd, and the offset's also kind of weird. It doesn't seem to be emitting from the dead center of the object. To check that. It's like coming from the... It's moved over a little bit or something. Strange. Or am I like accidentally spawning it on the player? I might be. That might be what I'm doing wrong. Nope, I'm just a fool, and I'm offsetting it by way too much, because the graphics of the bricks and the graphics of the beans are handled differently. What I do need to do, though, is go back to these speeds. Bump them back up again, perhaps. Because these should be going much further, and the size is like super wacky. That'll be coming from here, the start scale and the end scale. I probably just want to keep the scale like a consistent value. This is already looking a lot more like it used to. Yeah, they're just a bit too big now, so I'm just going to knock down the scale on these and see what happens. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you joined the chat there. Yes, this is my game. It's something I've been working on for a while, and I'm trying to make it more of a regular thing to like stream my development because then it keeps me focused, keeps me making stuff instead of letting it sitting. And there we go. Yeah, the particles are looking much better now at that size. I think there are some visual artifacts. Whoops, happening. When I switch levels like that, I wouldn't be surprised. I saw something in the top left earlier, but it's gone now. I'll have to check the footage. I was worried that the like particles were maybe like sticking around in memory or something. But it seems fine. All good. So the design of the game itself, I'm going to have some kind of like combat system. Right now, there's not much to the combat. I have to kind of like start the game over as well because my enemies don't respawn. They're not actually part of the map loading yet. But yeah, you can kind of like knock them around and stuff, and they physics about the place. And that's kind of fun. So I'm going to have like some kind of combat system based on like trying to combo these little dudes around and smack them into each other and stuff in a kind of a satisfying, meaty way. And then I guess like have special moves like uppercuts and like downward slams and stuff. And dialogue system, conversation thing, have some weird, quirky characters and stuff. And kind of going with like a Spyro-like approach to the world design. So you've already seen like the little portals that take you to places. This is lifted almost entirely from Spyro, just in the way like he uses it as a loading screen and everything. I always like that effect, and I want to keep it for myself, so I'm gonna do just that. So yeah, the actual world is going to be lots of different interconnected, like smaller worlds that you go back and forth between. So not quite a Metroidvania, not going like full design on that front. But yeah, it's just a fun thing for me and my friends to enjoy, and if other people like it too, then that's great. But I imagine it'll be a fairly limited amount of appeal. So, let's see. I probably should get around to adding enemies to the map. Ah, no problem. Yeah, I think you mentioned you were from Russia before on my Noita stream, I think, or Descenders maybe. Yeah, glad you're viewing. Kind of running over time on the stream by a few minutes, but I did that last time too, so I'm gonna keep streaming for probably 10 to 15 more minutes. But I'll be doing this again every few days. So I need to get enemies to be part of this. Let's see. There. Just adjusting the stream layout. Cool. Okay. So I'll make them act fairly similarly to other kinds of object, which I think I just need to make a new one. About the size of one tile. Enemy A. And there we go. Enemies will be... can I make these red? How do I change the color again? It's been a while since I've used this editor. Can't remember where the object colors live. Where is it? I see that these have a color. So I figured out how to do it before, and I have totally forgotten now. Well, that's just a mystery I'm going to have to solve some other time. Let's see. Enemies. Did I ever have a type system? Not really. So my test enemies happen to have some life parameters, like their weight and their stun threshold, and their color. So let's see. Stun threshold. What is that by default? 2. I guess I'll just add a color property for now. Debug color. There we go. Save that. Then just copy this. Player start. No. Camera. Zone. I had a function somewhere in here for loading all my entities into the game. Bean. Okay, here we are. If our type name is enemy, we can do some stuff. Enemy, new enemy. And we do this at the X and Y that we've set in the map file. And we can go and this is done threshold. Properties weight. Now can we parse a color? We'll try it just from a string. Get the feeling that that's going to break. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm basically making it so that I can load enemies from the map instead of creating them directly in code. So this the white one there is the new one that I've just added using the map tools. So the color didn't work out, and that's probably because the map tool is storing colors in a different way than I'm used to seeing them. So I'll just log that. Out to the console, and then I can check and see what that looks like. It's got a hash at the front. That's probably all that's breaking it. So I can just take that off. So now there should be 2 green ones. Or maybe not. I guess it's the alpha channel and the red channel are swapped. So I need to reverse the string as well. No, I don't. This is annoying. I'll have to make a new function to help me load the color in. Yeah, let's see. Inverse alpha. It's false. So I can do if inverse alpha. What I can do is I can swippity swap this to the front and that to the back. You'll find that this is the majority of what programming is. There we go. Boom. Go back here. Tell that I want it to use a different alpha. And I messed it up. Nope. Substring 1. Yeah, I'm glad you think it looks cool. Thanks. Still the wrong color. It's not what I expected. Maybe it was right all along? Yeah, it was right all along. I think. Or maybe I just did something weird. Oh, yeah, I did do something weird. There we go. Okay. And the colors for the particles still work. Cool. So what I can do now is I can go in here and I can just change the color of this enemy to anything I want. Like purple. Then I start the game. It's purple! So, that means I can get rid of those 2 test enemies I have at the start. I can wipe those out. Don't need to worry about those anymore. And now I can just add a bunch of them this way, which is much easier. I can have lots of them. I just realized I was streaming the wrong part of the screen again. Yeah. So for what that looks like, I can just like drag and drop new enemies into the scene wherever I want, and I can change their colors to be whatever color I like. Like red. Make this one be, I don't know, blue. And then when I run the game, that's what they look like. There they are. So, there's still a couple other things I need to do, which is finish porting all of the different particle systems I have over to the new system I built on the stream. Still gotta do a bunch of stuff with the actual design of the game. But for now, this is actually the probably the end of the stream for tonight, because I've been streaming for an hour and 20 minutes now. And I only want to do like an hour a day, pretty much. So thank you for coming along, and hopefully you'll join me next time, which might be tomorrow or it might be Friday. But yeah, I will be uploading all these videos to YouTube, so if you don't see them live, you can catch them later. And yeah, and then you can join me on my game development adventures. So yeah, once again, thanks for stopping by, and hope you have a good evening. And before I forget, I'm going to upload what I've done. There we go.